we're los Crudos. The first song we're going to do is enseñaste. This song's called enseñaste, which means because you bought it. We never played in this part of California before, so it's the first for us. I don't know how many people have seen us before, but maybe a couple have, I don't know. Okay. Tú lo enseñaste. Why we do this song, basically why it was written was, and basically why this band came about is for many reasons, and a lot of it dealing with just our growing up, where we grew up. Well, basically, except for him, from Chicago area. And although maybe some people out here don't really know much about Chicago, but as far as like a Latin American community, there's over 1 million of us over there, and there's a lot. I know the neighborhood that I grew up in when I first got there was predominantly, I don't know, it was a predominantly white neighborhood, Italian, Polish immigrant, and the school that I went to and my brothers and sisters went to was really crazy school because they were not into the fact that we spoke a different language, and that they were not into the fact that we had different customs than what they had. And I witnessed through my years of education, at least the whole beginning of it, the forceful tactics they would use in our schools to assimilate everybody, and all the kids who came in that, like, in particular spoke Spanish and everything. And it was a really, it's not a good thing, and it still amazes me to this day that educators, people who call themselves educators, try to get it in children's minds that what they are and who they are and their past and their history and their present is like a bad thing. And this song is about that. It's about teaching, and it's about what we teach to people and how like big of an impact words can make on children, especially in a school setting. It's because you taught it. Okay? Tú lo enseñaste. Curiosidad. Curiosidad is curiosity. Each and every one of us, and now the truth and who we are. Curiosidad. Forever tuning in. It's gonna sound anyway, so let's just do it. I get that. We played earlier today in San Jose. No, we are in San Jose, Cupertino, right? It was Sacramento. That's what happens until you get lost. We were in Sacramento earlier, and we played a cool, small little show. There was just, a few things that I thought I was personally bothered by, but I had to talk to one of the people who booked the show. And a big problem I have with, I guess, the punk community is that they tend to isolate themselves from the other existing communities, and I have a really big problem with that. I just asked the guy, I said, I know there's kids who've written us from Sacramento, and I know there's a big, Mexican-American Chicano population in Sacramento, and I know there's kids who are into punk that come from that, type of background. Why aren't there anybody at the show? And the thing is that they did a word-of-mouth show, which, I don't know, I guess because of the space they have, which is very small. If anybody's ever been to the Loft, it's a very small place. But I mean, I had to ask because I think it finds me very odd that we play shows, especially in the Southwest in California. I mean, here I know there's a lot of it's an evident presence that there are people from many different backgrounds, and I think that's great. But when we play certain towns like in Sacramento, and there's nobody there, I think, what is this? And that's a problem that I think is really big, is that people isolate themselves. And I mean, I think that punk, for the most part, has come a long way, and it's pretty self-sufficient, and it's a very creative movement. But I mean, what's wrong with sharing it with other people and trying to expand and, grow into other communities and, share, And, I don't know, I just found it just struck me as very odd, and it's very hard for us as a band that does this the way we do it to play in certain areas. When we play home, it is a very mixed crowd. When we play our neighborhood, it's like everybody from the neighborhood, and at least, I feel comfortable. Not that I don't feel comfortable playing in front of everybody here, but it just strikes me odd that, at a Crudos show in California, or in, it could be New Mexico or wherever, that, the crowd is just totally white, which just strikes me as kind of odd, because I know there's punks that come from many different backgrounds. So, we'll start the next song.
Does this get figured out?
Okay. Vamos a tocar. Why don't you no me vengan a salvar? Quizás cuando me vengan a salvar mis ojos ciegas.
¿Qué no esperas?
No, yo te quiero.
Dame otra si quieres.
¿Qué? ¿Qué?
Dame otro.
Sí, ya lo vamos a hacer en un segundo. Ahora.
background as far as 187 goes? We're not from here, so you got to let us know. Because in Chicago since February, we read that there's been 800 deportations in the sweep like around, just picking people up like in markets and stuff. So what's been happening here? Does anybody know? Stories?
If you're illegal, you're white, you don't bother you.
Okay, and how about if you're not?
What give you a hard time?
Okay.
Pero soy blanco.
Está bien.
8 people have died.
8 people have died. Was it a border-related thing or just a town-related thing?
Somebody died from
Right. Right. Okay. Nice. Nice, huh? I think it's pretty funny how things have been getting crazy lately in this whole country, like the way these laws are being made. I mean, things are getting really I mean, Chicago, crazy everywhere. It's nuts. But, see, like, in the lawyer, they don't have like the 187 number thing. They kind of try to separate it all so it doesn't come off as 187. But Chicago, I mean, is a very big immigrant town where there's Irish, you know, Asian, Polish, you know, Latin American, whatever. And I don't know if the 187 is kind of number like that, like a big bill, like with everything underneath it would go over so well. So they kind of go really like in a slick manner, trying to like slide these laws in and stuff. It's already affecting a lot of people, a lot of programs, like especially in education and stuff like that. And of course, health, people are afraid, nobody wants to go and get deported, so you have to deal with, just getting sick and kind of hoping that it doesn't get worse. But it's like, it's funny how they've been going to like places where a lot of people meet, like markets and things like that. See, in Chicago, we have like whole neighborhoods, like with thousands and thousands of people all concentrated in certain areas. And it's easy for them to just go like to the local big market and just fucking do a sweep and catch people. But for those of us that are around and are citizens, there's something you can do. If you ever see that immigration, INS, whatever you want to call them, go somewhere, let's say if you were someone, they kind of show up at your work and you see people start running and you see them start chasing and you know you have your papers and you're fine. The best thing to do, I would think, and my friend has done this before, is run also. Because what that means is that they think you're illegal, so they chase you too, and that means you're distracting them from catching somebody who, doesn't have their papers, and it's a good way of direct action. And they'll get pissed off at you if you say, I don't know, I ran because everybody else was running. So, that's a good way of doing it. Let's see. Well, the next song is coming from and it goes out to those people like Pete Wilson and all these other people. It's the freaky fascist politicians who think that, the immigrants owe whether they're legal or whatever, even illegal immigrants, we owe every drop of sweat and blood to them, and it's bullshit. Because, realistically, nobody's ever handed us anything for free. We work for what we got, right? No te digo nada. I don't totally Mexico or other countries, anywhere in the world country, you would realize that loving is totally different. It can be something, a whole different experience than you've ever seen or experienced. Sometimes you don't even have to go to third world countries. You can stay within this country just to have an input, and you realize that there's something about that struggle that a lot of people do. Settle down, folks. No need to get crazy. It's a small room. Nada cambia. Hasta que lo hagamos cambiar. Nothing changes until we make it change. Let's just get started now. Basically about the violence we have to deal with within our own communities, and although it's sad, very sad for us, we do lose a lot of young people every day, all the time, every year within our own communities, and it's never something that's that easily explained, and we never can understand it. It's a very old problem, the gang violence problem, but we still kind of wonder and try to figure out, why does the kid on this block think that the kid on the other block is his enemy till death? And I don't know. I guess that happens when you isolate yourself entirely from the rest of the world, and you shut yourself out, and it can be a really scary thing. I mean, a lot of the kids don't realize that, what is a possibility throughout this life, and what maybe it can offer you if you let it, At times, it's just that most kids are really afraid. I think they don't really see a day past maybe 17 or graduation, or if they even get there. Or whatever. Basically, the fact is that we're losing people all the time. It's a really sad thing for us all. And we just hope that, I guess, I don't know, we all know people that we've lost, and I just hope that, I'll never say that it'll go away, because it won't, but I hope that for some people there is some type of hope, and maybe they can see something. The mothers lloran, the mothers cry. It's about that loss, and about the families that have to deal with it. Listo. in my opinion. And does anybody here that's a part of the show and lives here and knows a lot of people have access to Xerox machine? Anybody? Okay, because we ran out of lyric sheets and we haven't had time to go get new ones done. And I think it's really unfair that you people don't know what it is that, what the fuck we're singing about. We have our lyrics translated and I'm going to leave it with you. You have access? And he's going to make copies. If you come to the next show or whatever, maybe he can give them to people. If you want, you can just get them through him, okay? Because I don't like the idea of not having something available for you people, okay? In my opinion, basically it's about domestic violence and about abuse that I guess women have to deal with, and maybe even children, like in an abusive setting, in an abusive home. And we all know people who've dealt with abusive relationships. I'm sure there's plenty of people within this room who have. And there's nothing worse than feeling like your home isn't safe. And I know, for instance, my sister had to deal with an abusive husband for a long time. And it was a really scary time. And I don't know, I still remember very well the day she came home with like a black and blue mark under her eye. And I got really, really furious. And I mean, luckily she's no longer in that situation. I guess all I could say is that if you're under that type of condition in that situation, I know it can be really scary. You may not think that you can get out of it that easily, but I mean, it's very good that you do let friends, if you have them, know, or family members, because I guess under that type of fear that somebody can impose on you, you might not see a way out of it, but there always is. And well, whatever. And it's about that. I don't mean whatever, like, oh, forget about it. I mean, just, my mind just gets locked up, okay? It means fight to be heard. This one was originally written when the uprising in Chiapas came about, and basically it is a song of support, but it's also a song saying that if we were in their position, I don't think we can all really say how we would stand on it until we were in their shoes, but I think that if we were in their position where we didn't know, but we were up against something that was going to take everything, our livelihood away, like our land and our food, and if your family would be starving, or you would be starving, or your loved ones, or whatever, I think you would probably have to think really hard about if you would take arms up or not, and I think most of us probably would. But it's basically about that, it's fight to be heard, because that the situation in Chiapas didn't just start a year ago, a year and a half ago. Excuse me, those people have been dealing with that issue for many, many, many years. I mean, I saw a documentary about it, and it was filmed 18 and a half years ago now. And they were talking about the same issues that they're talking about now. And it was about their land being taken away. And it was about just like heavy-duty stuff that was going on about extreme poverty. But finally, they got to the point where just talking and negotiating at tables was getting them nowhere, so they had to seek another alternative. Fight to be heard. And thanks a lot, everybody, for coming out.